This is a story about choices, about a 14-year-old girl who became a queen, about a marriage that destroyed her, about a love she could never have, about propaganda that turned her into a monster, about 5 moments where she could have saved herself, and about why she chose death instead. This is a story about scandal, intrigue, forbidden romance, and revolution. About diamonds she never bought, affairs she never had, and words she never said. This is a story that will show you how easily truth becomes lie, how silence becomes guilt, and how a woman can be hated for crimes she did not commit. If stories like this interest you, hit subscribe now, because this channel exists to expose the truth behind history's most controversial women. No romance, no filters, just power, propaganda, and the cost of both. This is the complete story of Marie Antoinette. May 16th, 1770, Strasbourg, France. A 14-year-old girl stands alone on an island in the middle of the Rhine River. Behind her, Austria. Ahead of her, France. She cannot go back. Her name is Maria Antonia Josepha Johanna. In 10 minutes, she will become Marie Antoinette, Dauphine of France. But first, she must strip naked. This is called the ceremony of remise. Austria is giving her to France. She cannot bring anything Austrian with her. Not her clothes, not her jewelry, not her underwear. French ladies undress her completely. Austrian ladies watch. Then French ladies dress her in French clothes. Every piece, every layer. She is 14 years old, surrounded by strangers, naked, examined like merchandise. This is how France receives its future queen, and this moment will define everything that follows. Because Marie Antoinette will spend the next 23 years trying to prove she belongs, trying to become French enough, trying to be loved. She will fail at all 3. But here is the question that haunts her story. What if she had made different choices? What if, at 5 critical moments, she had chosen differently? Would she have lived? Let me show you the 5 moments where Marie Antoinette could have saved herself, and why she chose death instead. Before we continue, if this kind of historical analysis interests you, do 3 things. 1. Hit the like button. 2. Subscribe and turn on notifications. 3. Leave a comment telling me which of Marie's 5 fatal choices you think was the worst. This channel exists to expose how power works, how propaganda destroys, and how history remembers women who were destroyed by systems they could not control. Let me show you the complete story of Marie Antoinette. Part 1. The marriage that never happened. 1770 to 1777. 7 years. 7 years Marie Antoinette is married to Louis Auguste, Dauphin of France. 7 years they are supposed to produce an heir to the French throne. 7 years. Nothing happens. The problem is simple. Louis will not touch her. On their wedding night, May 16th, 1770, the entire French court waits outside the bedroom. Tradition demands that the marriage be consummated immediately. Witnesses wait to confirm it happened. The ceremony was grand. 5,000 guests. Fireworks, a feast, everything perfect, except the groom. Louis is 15 years old. Overweight, awkward, terrified. He has never been with a woman. He has never even talked to a woman intimately. Marie is 14. She knows what is expected. Her mother explained everything. In detail, in multiple letters. The door closes. They are alone. And Louis does nothing. He stands there, uncomfortable. Then he climbs into bed and falls asleep. Marie lies awake, confused, humiliated. The next morning, the court asks the traditional question, was the marriage consummated? Louis's grandfather, King Louis XV, reads his grandson's diary. 1 word, nothing. The next night, nothing. Week after week after week, nothing. For 7 years. Why? Here are the theories. Louis had a medical condition called phimosis, a physical problem that made intercourse painful. He needed minor surgery, a simple procedure, 10 minutes. But he refused. Why did he refuse? Because he was terrified. Because surgery on that part of the body in 1770 without anesthesia was excruciating. Because he was 15 years old and embarrassed. Or Louis was psychologically damaged. His mother died when he was 13. His father died when he was 11. He was raised by cold, distant tutors. He had no emotional warmth, no intimacy, no love. So when confronted with a wife who wanted affection, he shut down. Or Louis resented being forced to marry an Austrian. France and Austria were enemies for centuries. The 7 Years' War ended just 13 years earlier. 900,000 dead. And now he is married to the enemy's daughter. Every time he looks at Marie, he sees Austria, the country that killed Frenchmen. Whatever the reason, the result is the same. Marie Antoinette is 14, then 15, then 16, then 17, then 18, then 19, then 20. Virgin, humiliated, mocked. The French court whispers, loudly. The Dauphine still has not consummated her marriage. Perhaps the Dauphin is not capable. Perhaps the Dauphine is frigid. Perhaps she is secretly sleeping with someone else and hiding the fact that there are no children. Pamphlets circulate, crude drawings showing Marie with other men because, obviously, her husband cannot satisfy her. Cartoons showing Louis as impotent, weak, not a real man. Her mother, Empress Maria Theresa of Austria, writes her desperate letters, almost weekly. Have you been granted the essential favor yet? Translation. Has your husband finally slept with you? Marie writes back, Not yet, Mama. I am trying. Her mother writes, Try harder. This marriage exists to produce an heir. If there is no heir, France will send you back to Austria in disgrace. Marie is terrified of being sent home, of being a failure, of embarrassing Austria. So she tries everything. She waits for Louis in his bedroom. He ignores her. She wears provocative nightgowns. He does not notice. She tries to talk to him about his interests. Locks, hunting, maps. He talks enthusiastically about locks for 3 hours. Then he goes to bed, alone. This goes on for 7 years. And here is the tragedy. Marie Antoinette is actually trying. She is affectionate with Louis. She wants this marriage to work. She wants to be a good wife. But Louis treats her like a roommate, not a wife, not a lover, a stranger who happens to live in the same palace. So she does what any lonely teenager would do. She looks for love elsewhere. Part 2. The Lovers. Count Hans Axel von Fersen. Swedish. Tall. Handsome. Charming. Everything Louis is not. He meets Marie in January 1774 at a masquerade ball at the Paris Opera. She is 18. He is 19. They dance. And for the first time in 4 years of marriage, Marie Antoinette feels wanted. Fersen is different from the French courtiers. He does not flatter her because she is Dauphine. He talks to her like she is a person. He makes her laugh. He looks at her like she is beautiful, not like she is a political asset, not like she is a womb that needs to produce an heir, like she is a woman. They dance 3 times that night, which in French court etiquette is scandalous. You dance once with someone to be polite, twice if you enjoy their company, 3 times means something. After that night, Fersen becomes a regular at court. He attends the same events Marie attends. They talk. They ride horses together. They attend theater performances together. Chaperoned, of course. Always chaperoned. But there are moments, glances, touches that last a second too long. In May 1774, King Louis XV dies of smallpox. Marie's husband becomes King Louis XVI. Marie becomes Queen of France. She is 18 years old, and the pressure intensifies. Because now it is not just about producing an heir to be Dauphin. It is about producing an heir to the throne of France. And she still cannot. Fersen sees her struggling. He sees her lonely. He sees her trapped in a marriage that is not really a marriage. In June 1774, Fersen's father summons him back to Sweden. Family obligations. He must leave France. Before he goes, he writes Marie a letter. He destroys it before sending it. But years later, a draft is found in his papers. Leaving you is the hardest thing I have ever done. If circumstances were different, if you were not who you are, if I were not who I am, perhaps we could have been happy together. But we cannot. And that is the tragedy we both must bear. He leaves. Marie is devastated. But here is what happens next. Marie's brother, Joseph II of Austria, visits her in 1777. He sees the situation. Virgin at 22, intimate, with a quiet undercurrent of hope. Seriously, humiliated. Somber, intimate, with a quiet undercurrent of hope. Desperate. Somber, intimate, with a quiet undercurrent of hope. He talks to Louis. Seriously, man to man. We do not know what he said, but we know what happened after. Louis finally has the surgery. The physical problem is fixed, and in April 1778, Marie writes to her mother, "I am the happiest woman in the world." Translation, it finally happened. She is pregnant. Did they have an affair? Marie and Fersen. Did they sleep together before Louis finally consummated the marriage? History does not know for certain. But here is what we do know. Fersen writes to his sister in 1779, "I have decided not to marry. I cannot belong to the only woman I want to belong to, so I will belong to no one." Marie writes letters to Fersen, hundreds of letters. After her death, someone burns most of them, but a few survive. One from 1791. "I am ending this letter. It is not without pain. Adieu, the most loved and loving of men. I kiss you with all my heart." That is not how you write to a friend. Here is what probably happened. They loved each other, deeply, passionately. Did they consummate it before 1778? Probably not. Marie was too terrified of getting pregnant by someone other than Louis. That would be treason, execution. Did they consummate it after 1778, once she had legitimate children with Louis? Possibly. Historians debate this. Some say yes, some say no. The evidence is ambiguous. But does it matter? Emotionally, Marie Antoinette and Axel von Fersen were lovers. Whether they were physically intimate is almost irrelevant. They were intimate in every way that mattered. And this creates fatal choice number 1. Because in 1774, when Fersen left France, he gave her an option. Come with me. Fatal choice 1. Stay or leave. 1774. Marie is 19. Her husband, Louis XV, dies. Her husband, Louis Auguste, becomes Louis XVI, King of France. She becomes queen. She now has immense power, resources, connections. Fersen loves her. He would do anything for her. Here is the choice. Option A. Run away with Fersen. Scandalous? Yes. Abdication? Yes. But she would be alive. They could flee to Sweden. She would live as a duchess. Safe, loved, free. Option B. Stay. Fulfill her duty. Try to make the marriage work. She chooses B. Why? Because she is a queen. Because her mother raised her to believe duty comes before happiness. Because running away would disgrace Austria and France and her family. She chooses duty over love, and this choice begins her destruction. Because the same year she becomes queen, 1774, something else happens. She becomes pregnant. Part 3. The children. Finally. After 7 years of humiliation, Louis has surgery. The physical problem is fixed, and suddenly everything changes. 1778, daughter Marie Thérèse born. 1781, son Louis-Joseph born. The heir. France celebrates. 1785, son Louis-Charles born. 1786, daughter Sophie born. Dies at 11 months old. Marie Antoinette is finally a mother. She adores her children. She breastfeeds them herself, which shocks the French court. Queens do not breastfeed. That is what wet nurses are for. But Marie wants to be a real mother, not a ceremonial one. And for a few years, from 1778 to 1785, she is almost happy. But there are 3 problems. Problem 1, her spending. Marie loves fashion. She changes her hairstyle daily. She orders hundreds of dresses. She renovates her private palace, the Petit Trianon. She builds a fake peasant village where she pretends to be a shepherdess. Cost? Millions of livres. France is going bankrupt funding wars. The people are starving, and the Queen is building a fake farm to play dress-up. Problem 2, her reputation. The pamphlets have not stopped. If anything, they have gotten worse. Because now that Marie has children, the pamphlets claim they are not Louis's children. They are Fersen's children, or other lovers' children. This is almost certainly false, but it does not matter. France believes it. Problem 3, the necklace. 1785, the scandal that destroys her. Part 4, the diamond necklace affair. Here is what happened. A con artist named Jean de la Motte convinces Cardinal de Rohan that Marie Antoinette secretly loves him. Jean arranges a midnight meeting in the gardens of Versailles between the cardinal and a prostitute dressed as the queen. The cardinal, like an idiot, believes it is really Marie. Jean tells the cardinal that the queen wants to buy a diamond necklace worth 1.6 million livres, the most expensive necklace in Europe. But she cannot buy it publicly because people would criticize her spending, so the cardinal should buy it for her, secretly. The cardinal does. He gives the necklace to Jean. Jean breaks it apart and sells the diamonds. The jewelers come to collect payment. The cardinal cannot pay. The whole scheme collapses. And here is the critical fact. Marie Antoinette had nothing to do with any of this. She never met Jean. She never wanted the necklace. She was completely innocent. But France does not believe her, because the story is too perfect. The greedy Austrian queen, bankrupting France to buy jewelry, using a cardinal as her pawn. It confirms everything the pamphlets have been saying for 15 years. The trial happens publicly. Jean is convicted, but the damage is done. France now believes Marie Antoinette is a liar, a manipulator, and a thief. And this leads to fatal choice number 2. Fatal choice 2. Explain or stay silent. 1785. Marie is 30. The trial is destroying her reputation. Here is the choice. Option A, go public. Explain what happened. Show the evidence. Prove her innocence. Hold a press conference. Write a public letter. Speak directly to the French people. Option B, stay silent. Trust that her innocence is obvious. Refuse to dignify the accusations with a response. She chooses B. Why? Because queens do not explain themselves to commoners. Because defending yourself implies guilt. Because she genuinely believes the truth will be obvious. She is wrong. Her silence is interpreted as guilt. The pamphlets explode. Pornographic cartoons of Marie with multiple men. Stories of orgies at Versailles. Accusations of bankrupting France. None of it is true. All of it is believed. By 1789, Marie Antoinette is the most hated woman in France. And here is the tragedy. If she had spoken, if she had explained, If she had gone directly to the people and shown her innocence, maybe it would have changed things.
Or maybe not.
Because by 1789, France does not want a queen. France wants a revolution. Part 5. The Revolution. July 14th, 1789. The Bastille falls. Paris explodes. October 5th, 1789. 20,000 women march from Paris to Versailles. They are starving. They want bread. They storm the palace. They break into Marie's bedroom. She escapes seconds before they arrive. They bayonet her bed, stabbing where she was sleeping. The mob takes the royal family to Paris by force, imprisoned in the Tuileries Palace for 2 years, from 1789 to 1791. Marie and Louis are prisoners in their own capital. And during those 2 years, Fersen returns. He has been away in Sweden, but when he hears Marie is in danger, he comes back to France, disguised, in secret, and he devises a plan. The Escape. Part 6. The Escape That Failed. June 20th, 1791. Midnight. The Tuileries Palace. Marie, Louis, their 2 surviving children, Marie-Thérèse, age 12, and Louis-Charles, age 6, and Louis's sister Elizabeth prepare to flee. Fersen has arranged everything. For months he has been planning, bribing guards, arranging safe houses, securing passports. He has returned to France in disguise, risking his life, because he cannot let Marie die. The plan? Drive northeast to Montmédy near the Austrian/Luxembourg border. General Bouillet has 10,000 loyal troops waiting there. From Montmédy, they can either negotiate with the revolutionaries from a position of strength or cross the border to Austria. Fersen will drive the first leg himself, disguised as a coachman. At 11 p.m., the escape begins. Marie disguises herself as a Russian noblewoman named Baroness de Korff. Louis disguises himself as her valet. The children are dressed as her daughters. Elizabeth is her companion. They have false passports, Russian passports, signed by a real Russian baroness who has been bribed to lend her name. They slip out of the Tuileries through a secret passage, one by one. Marie goes first, then the children, then Elizabeth, finally Louis. But Louis gets lost. He takes a wrong turn in the palace. For 20 minutes, he wanders the corridors, looking for the exit. Terrified of being caught, Marie waits in the carriage, heart pounding. Where is he? Finally, Louis finds the right door. He climbs into the carriage. They are 20 minutes behind schedule. Fersen drives. Through Paris. Through the gates. No one stops them. The guards see a Russian noblewoman's carriage. They wave it through. They make it out of Paris. For the first few hours, everything works perfectly. Mile after mile. Closer to safety. Closer to freedom. Fersen drives them to the town of Bondy, 20 miles from Paris. Then he must leave them. If he goes further, he will be recognized. A Swedish count traveling with the royal family is too suspicious. He says goodbye to Marie. They know this might be the last time they ever see each other. Marie later writes that this was the hardest moment of the entire escape, watching Fersen ride away, knowing he might die trying to save her. A new coachman takes over. The carriage continues east. But now 3 things start to go wrong. Mistake 1. They are traveling in a huge Berlin carriage, bright yellow, ornate, slow. Fersen had arranged for a simple, fast carriage, but Louis refused. He is the King of France. He will not travel in a peasant cart. So they are in a carriage that screams royalty, that can barely go faster than 10 miles per hour because it is so heavy. Mistake 2. They brought too much luggage. Marie packed her jewelry, her favorite dresses, a traveling case with wine. Louis brought his lock-making tools. The carriage is overloaded, even slower. Mistake 3. The relay stations are not ready. Fersen had arranged for fresh horses at specific towns along the route. But the revolutionaries have been changing guard posts. Some of the loyal soldiers are no longer there. At the town of Saint-Ménehould, they stopped to change horses. And the postmaster, Jean-Baptiste Drouet, looks closely at the passengers. Something is wrong. The valet looks familiar. Where has he seen that face before? Then he remembers. The money. Louis XVI's face is on every coin in France. That valet is the king. Drouet does not raise the alarm immediately. He waits until the carriage leaves. Then he mounts his horse and rides ahead. He takes a shortcut. He knows these roads. He can beat the heavy carriage. He arrives at the town of Varennes. He alerts the town officials. When the royal family's carriage arrives in Varennes at 11 p.m., the bridge over the river is blocked. Armed men surround the carriage. Your passports. Marie hands over the Russian passports. The officials examine them. They look at the passengers. You are the royal family.
Louis denies it. We are Russian nobility. Here are our papers.
But it is too late. The mayor of Varennes, Jean-Baptiste Sauce, recognizes them. He is actually sympathetic to the king. He does not want to arrest them. But the crowd is gathering. Hundreds of people. Armed. Angry. The mayor whispers to Louis. Your Majesty, I cannot let you pass. If I do, this crowd will kill you. Louis and Marie are taken to the mayor's house, under guard. They wait for hours. General Bouillet is only 30 miles away. If he rides through the night with his cavalry, he could rescue them. Messengers are sent. The general prepares to attack. But then Marie makes a decision. She tells Louis, if Bouillet attacks, there will be bloodshed. French will kill French. We cannot start a civil war. Louis agrees. He sends a message to Bouillet. Stand down. Do not attack. And that decision seals their fate. June 22nd, 1791. The royal family is escorted back to Paris. By force, in the same yellow carriage. The journey back takes 3 days. The crowd grows larger at every town. By the time they reach Paris, 100,000 people line the streets. Silent, staring, hostile. Signs are posted. Anyone who applauds the king will be beaten. Anyone who insults the king will be hanged. No one applauds. No one insults. They just stare. The royal family is taken back to the Tuileries. Now it is no longer a palace. It is a prison. Armed guards outside every door, every window. They are prisoners in their own home. And here is the tragedy. They were so close. If they had left on time, if they had taken a fast carriage, if Louis had not insisted on bringing luggage, if they had not stopped for dinner at one town, if they were 6 hours from safety, 6 hours from Austrian territory, 6 hours from freedom, and they failed. And here is fatal choice number 3. Fatal choice 3. Fight or surrender. June 1791. They are caught, but not yet executed. Here is the choice. Option A. Fight. Use the royalist troops still loyal to them. There are thousands. Start a civil war. Flee to Austria. Austria would protect Marie. Her brother Leopold II is the emperor. Option B. Surrender. Return to Paris. Cooperate. Trust that the revolutionaries will show mercy. They choose B. Why? Because Louis refuses to start a civil war. He believes French should not kill French. He genuinely thinks he can negotiate. Marie disagrees, but she cannot act without Louis. And this choice is fatal, because there is no mercy coming. Part 7. The September Massacres. September 226, 1792. Paris goes insane! Revolutionaries storm the prisons. They drag out prisoners and execute them in the streets. Without trial. Without mercy. 1,200 people killed in 5 days. Priests, nobles, anyone suspected of supporting the monarchy. The royal family hears the screams from their prison in the Temple Tower. Marie Antoinette knows she is next. And on September 21st, 1792, the monarchy is officially abolished. Louis is now Citizen Louis Capet. Marie is Citizen Marie Capet. They are no longer king and queen. They are prisoners waiting for execution. But before they execute Marie, they execute Louis. Part 8. The Execution of Louis XVI. January 21st, 1793. 10:22 a.m. Place de la Révolution, Paris. Louis XVI is beheaded by guillotine. He dies with dignity. His last words, "I die innocent of all the crimes laid to my charge. I pardon those who have occasioned my death, and I pray to God that the blood you are going to shed may never be visited on France." The blade falls. The crowd roars. Marie is now a widow. Her son, 8-year-old Louis Charles, is technically King Louis XVII, but the revolutionaries do not recognize him. Instead, they separate the family. Marie is moved to the Conciergerie prison, alone. Her son is given to a cobbler named Antoine Simon. Simon is instructed to re-educate the boy, make him forget he was a prince. Over the next months, Simon beats the boy, starves him, forces him to testify against his mother. Marie never sees her son again. And this leads to fatal choice number 4. Fatal choice 4. Beg or stay proud. August 1793. Marie is in prison. Her trial is coming. Fersen is still trying to save her. He bribes guards. He arranges escape plans. One plan almost succeeds. A carnation with a hidden message is smuggled into her cell. But Marie refuses to escape alone. She will not leave without her children. Here is the choice. Option A. Beg. Write to the revolutionaries. Plead for mercy. Offer to leave France forever. Renounce all claims. Just let her live. Option B. Stay proud. Refuse to beg. Maintain her dignity. If they want to kill her, make them kill a queen, not a broken woman. She chooses B. Why? Because she is Marie Antoinette, daughter of Maria Theresa, Queen of France. She will not beg, even when begging might save her life. And this choice guarantees her death. Part 9. The Trial. October 14th to 16th, 1793. Marie Antoinette's trial lasts 36 hours. She has less than 1 day to prepare a defense. No lawyer, no evidence. 12 male jurors who have already decided she is guilty. The charges? 1. High treason. She conspired with Austria against France. 2. Depleting the treasury. She bankrupted France with her spending. 3. Conspiracy with foreign powers. She helped plan the escape to Varennes. 4. Incest with her son. The first 3 charges are debatable. The 4th is a lie. Jacques Hébert, a revolutionary journalist, has coached 8-year-old Louis Charles to testify that his mother sexually abused him. The boy, broken by months of torture, repeats what he was told to say. The courtroom goes silent. Marie stands, white-faced, trembling, with a brittle edge of dignity. She does not defend herself by attacking the charge. Cold, tightening fatalism with a brittle edge of dignity. She does not call it absurd. She does not rage. If I have not replied, it is because nature itself refuses to respond to such a charge laid against a mother. I appeal to all mothers present. The women in the courtroom gasp. Some cry. Even the hardened revolutionaries look uncomfortable. For one moment, Marie Antoinette is not the enemy. She is a mother, defending her child, accusing her accusers. It is the most powerful moment of the trial. but it does not save her. October 16th, 1793, 4 a.m. The verdict: guilty. Sentence: death. Part 10. The execution. October 16th, 1793, morning. Marie Antoinette wakes at 4 a.m. She dresses in white, the color of mourning for queens. A priest comes. She confesses. She writes her last letter to her sister-in-law, Elizabeth. I am calm, as one is when one's conscience reproaches one with nothing. At 11 a.m. they come for her, hands bound behind her back, rope around her neck like a leash. She is placed in an open cart, not a closed carriage. The revolutionaries want Paris to see her. The crowd lines the streets. Thousands of people. Some weep, most cheer. She sits upright, silent, dignified. At one point the cart hits a bump. She nearly falls. The executioner steadies her. She accidentally steps on his foot. Her last words: "Pardon me, sir. I did not do it on purpose." Apologizing, even at the guillotine, even to the man about to kill her. With growing inevitability, 12:15 p.m., Place de la Révolution. The executioner cuts her hair. She climbs the scaffold, alone. The blade falls. Marie Antoinette is dead. Age 37, her hair had turned completely white in the 3 months since her husband's execution. And here is fatal choice number 5, the choice she never got to make. Fatal choice 5. What if she had lived? Imagine. What if, at any of those 5 moments, Marie Antoinette had chosen differently? What if she had run away with Fersen in 1774? She would be alive, living in Sweden, unknown to history. What if she had defended herself publicly in 1785 after the diamond necklace affair? Maybe France would have believed her. Maybe not. But she would have fought. What if she had fled to Austria in 1791 instead of surrendering? Civil war. Thousands dead, but she might have survived. What if she had begged for mercy in 1793? Would the revolutionaries have spared her? Probably not, but maybe. What if she had escaped from prison in August 1793? Fersen had a plan. It almost worked. She refused because she would not leave her children. 5 moments. 5 choices. 5 chances to live. She chose death every time. Not because she wanted to die, but because she could not stop being a queen. And that is the tragedy. Marie Antoinette was destroyed by propaganda, by lies, by a revolution that needed a villain. But she was also destroyed by her own pride, her own sense of duty, her own inability to choose survival over honor. Part 11. The aftermath. What happened after? Her son, Louis Charles. After Marie's execution, the boy is left alone in a cell in the Temple Tower. He is 8 years old. Antoine Simon, the cobbler who was supposed to re-educate him, is removed. The boy is now completely isolated. No visitors, no sunlight, no human contact. For 2 years, from 1793 to 1795, Louis Charles lives in a dark cell, alone. He develops tuberculosis. His body is covered in sores. He can barely walk. On June 8, 1795, guards enter his cell. He is dead. Age 10. The official cause, tuberculosis. The suspected cause, neglect, abuse, starvation. Some historians believe he was murdered, poisoned, because as long as he lived, he was a threat to the Republic. He was the rightful King Louis XVII. Others believe he died naturally, that the revolutionaries did not actively kill him. They just did not care if he lived. Either way, the result is the same. Marie's son died alone in a prison cell 2 years after she was executed. Her daughter, Marie Therese, she survived. She was 17 when her mother was executed. She remained in prison for 2 more years. In December 1795, she was released in a prisoner exchange. The Republic traded her for French prisoners held by Austria. She crossed the border to Austria. She was free, but she was the only survivor of her immediate family. Her father, guillotined. Her mother,
Guillotined.
her younger brother, dead in prison. Her Aunt Elizabeth, guillotined in 1794. She was 17 years old and utterly alone. She married her cousin, Louis Antoine, Duke of Angoulême, in 1799. She never had children. Some historians believe the trauma of her imprisonment left her unable to conceive. Others believe she simply refused to bring children into a world that had murdered her family. She lived until 1851, age 72. She spent her entire life mourning. She wore black every day. She never smiled in portraits. She was called the Orphan of the Temple, the sad princess, the girl who survived the revolution but never really escaped it. Axel von Fersen. He never married. He wore a ring with Marie's hair inside it for the rest of his life. Underneath his shirt, next to his heart, he wore a small locket with her miniature portrait.
Analytical with dark undercurrent.
After Marie's death, he became obsessed with revenge. He tried to organize royalist uprisings. He funded counter-revolutionary groups. He spent his fortune trying to destroy the republic that killed her. It did not work. In 1810, Fersen was in Stockholm attending the funeral of the Swedish crown prince. A rumor spread that Fersen had poisoned the prince. It was false, but the mob did not care. They attacked him in the street. They beat him. They stomped on him. They threw stones. For hours. The Swedish guards did not intervene. They watched. Fersen died in the street, age 54.
Beaten to death by a mob.
His last words, according to witnesses, Marie. He died thinking of the woman he loved, the woman he could not save. The revolutionaries, they did not fare well either. Maximilien Robespierre, the architect of the terror, the man who orchestrated Marie's execution, guillotined July 28, 1794, age 36, less than 1 year after Marie's death. Jacques Hébert, the journalist who accused Marie of incest with her son, guillotined March 24, 1794, age 37, 5 months after Marie's death. Antoine Fouquier-Tinville, the prosecutor at Marie's trial, guillotined May 7, 1795, age 49. The revolution ate its own children. Maybe killed Marie Antoinette were themselves killed by the same system they created. Terror begets terror. Violence begets violence. And France? France got its republic. For a few years. Then Napoleon took over in 1799. Another emperor. Another absolute ruler. Then the monarchy was restored in 1814. Louis XVIII, Marie's brother-in-law, became king. Then another revolution in 1830. Another king. Then another revolution in 1848. Another republic. France spent the entire 19th century oscillating between republic and monarchy, between revolution and restoration. And through it all, Marie Antoinette's ghost haunted them. Because the propaganda that destroyed her during her life became evidence of injustice after her death. Historians began researching. They found the truth. Let them eat cake? She never said it. The phrase appeared in Jean-Jacques Rousseau's Confessions, written when Marie was 9 years old, before she even came to France. The diamond necklace? She never bought it. She was completely innocent. Cardinal de Rohan admitted she had nothing to do with it, but by then it was too late. Bankrupting France. The wars cost far more than her spending.
King Louis XV's wars cost 1.3 billion livres.
Marie's spending was maybe 10 million livres.
She was blamed for 1% of France's debt.
Sexual scandals invented by enemies. The pornographic pamphlets were propaganda. There is no credible evidence she had affairs with anyone except possibly Fersen. Incest, a grotesque lie. Her 8-year-old son was tortured into making false testimony. Almost everything France believed about her was a lie. But the lies worked. They turned a foreign princess into a monster. They gave the revolution a face to hate, a scapegoat for France's problems. And they killed her. Part 12. The 5 Lessons. What does Marie Antoinette's story teach us? Lesson 1. Propaganda works. If you repeat a lie enough times, it becomes truth. France believed Marie caused the revolution because they were told that story for 20 years. Lesson 2. Silence is interpreted as guilt. When Marie refused to defend herself, people assumed she was guilty. Defending yourself is not weakness. It is survival. Lesson 3. Duty can be fatal. Marie chose duty over love, over safety, over life, and duty killed her. Lesson 4. Pride is expensive. Marie refused to beg, refused to escape alone, refused to compromise, and pride cost her everything. Lesson 5. The truth does not matter if no one believes it. Marie was innocent of most charges. It did not save her. Because by 1793, France did not want truth. France wanted vengeance. Finale. Was it worth it? So here is the final question. Knowing how it ends, would you have made the same choices? Would you choose duty over love? Would you stay silent when accused? Would you refuse to beg, even at the guillotine? Marie Antoinette did. And she died with her dignity intact. But she died at 37, without her husband, without her son, hated by the nation she tried to serve. Was it worth it? That is for you to decide. If this exposed something about how propaganda destroys, how silence can be fatal, and how women in power are judged differently than men, do 3 things. 1. Hit the like button. 2. Subscribe and turn on notifications. 3. Leave a comment answering this question. Which of Marie's 5 fatal choices do you think was the worst? Running away with Fersen? Staying silent about the necklace? Surrendering after Varennes? Refusing to beg? Or refusing to escape without her children? Tell me which choice you think killed her. Marie Antoinette spent 23 years trying to be French enough, loved enough, good enough, and France killed her anyway. The methods were brutal. The propaganda was effective. The execution was final. But the question remains, if she had chosen differently, would she have lived? Or was she doomed from the moment she stepped naked onto that island in the Rhine, stripped of everything Austrian, dressed in French clothes, and sent to a country that would never accept her? History says she was doomed. I think she had 5 chances, and she chose wrong every time. That is the tragedy of Marie Antoinette.